6. Guten Morgen, Mr. Gaffney.
Morning.
Morning. Es ist Montagmorgen. Wir tapen das am Montagmorgen. We tape this Monday morning, as it will be published on Tuesday. So we both have a long night behind us. It's been a Super Bowl night. So did you fall asleep or at intermission, or did you watch the?
No, I watched the entire game. I watched it over Jared's house. For me, the outcome of that game couldn't have been any better.
Why is that? So tell us a little bit about this one.
I think everyone in this city knows they're a diehard Patriots fan, and unfortunately they weren't playing last night. With that said, the fact that the Broncos didn't win any more games than, past their last win against the Patriots in the playoffs is very gratifying for me.
Yeah. If you would have, if you were forced to predict the outcome of the game, would you have ever thought it would be that kind of a blowout?
No, I expected Seattle to win. I did say that, and maybe was a biased prediction.
Yeah. Being
from New England, and for the last season, only hearing about Peyton Manning this, Peyton Manning that. Knowing that in New England we have the best quarterback in football. So maybe my prediction was biased, but you could ask anyone in the locker room. I predicted Seattle to win the game. I just expected it to be a lot closer than 48-3.
Yeah, and I heard that Mark Cuban, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, won a lot of money on betting on the first play of the game. That it was a safety.
Yeah.
And I think that the chances were like 1 to a million or so.
It was plus. I think it was me and Jared were looking it up last night after it happened, and I think it was plus 4,000.
Yeah. And
yeah, that was. But hey, Mark Cuban probably won the money that Floyd Mayweather lost betting $10 million on the game last night.
so with talking about blowups and blown starts into the game, we gotta talk right come to the Ulm game. We had the outcome. Everybody knows it's been a 90-92 overtime victory for Ulm. But we gotta discuss the first quarter that we had. Why didn't we get into an early rhythm? Why was Ulm the one team that was dominating for like 10, maybe 13, maybe 15 minutes?
Yeah, I mean that's been an ongoing pattern too. Teams come in here and they're so comfortable. It's as players we talk and we're sure that teams look on their schedule and think, yes, we're going to Bonn to play this weekend. As opposed to when we're going to play them at their arena, they say, crap, Bonn's coming to us this weekend. And I think, we're human, so in the back of our heads, we're thinking, we need to get this monkey off of our shoulder and win a game at home. And, I think we started the game very uptight and, it's, when you have the fans know the situation too. We're struggling at home. If we could find a way to win at home or be as good at home as we are on the road, we'd probably be in first place in this league. In Europe, it's very hard to win on the road. The fact that we're 8-1 away from here this season, something's got to give. We got to figure it out here. But yeah, we came out flat, and we came out. They obviously came out making shots, feeling comfortable, and we played very uptight. With that said, we're not a team to give up or, we always fight and claw back, but you can't really put yourself in that position too often and expect to win games. We were lucky enough to get back into that one and give ourselves a chance to win.
From my perspective, it took us a little bit too long until we finally got a rhythm going into in the second quarter. So why did it take us that long? I mean, you can have a bad start, you can have a bad first 5 minutes into the game or so, but I mean, we're talking about 10, 30 minutes or so. What was it that denied us from having a good rhythm or get us going?
I mean, you can look at the stats. We didn't shoot the ball particularly well. What did we shoot for? I mean, yeah, in the first half we didn't anyways. We ended up shooting, 41% from three, but we didn't get a lot of easy ones early just to get ourselves going, get ourselves in a rhythm. They did. They got any shot they wanted. And again, a lot of that has to do with playing uptight and knowing the situation. They make a few shots and we're like, you know, maybe some guys are thinking in the back of their heads, here we go again. Like, there's something about playing here, you know. Anyone can come, you know, Holmes' coach can come out and jack up a three and it's going to go in, you know, because that's what seems to. He's a great player, but I mean, in his suit and everything, you know, and it's we have to figure out a way to play with that same fire and that same, you know, just unity, and it's just us as a team against them here that we play with when we're on the road.
Let's bring up a topic, and we've been discussing this a couple of weeks back when we've been sitting in the office. It's about playing physical, playing hard. And I know that, you know, you got your view and I got my view. And then yesterday's game was one of those games where I thought they're outplaying us physically. We're not physically ready to, you know, challenge those guys. Would you agree on that, or would you say, no, we got to find another way to, you know?
Personally, I saw it different, but I didn't watch the game yet, so I can't see how physical they were compared to us, because all I know is the bumping and banging that I'm doing with their bigs, because I don't see the rest of the game from that perspective. So to answer that one about yesterday's game is difficult for me, because I haven't watched it yet. But with that said, we don't have necessarily a team with guys that all weigh 105 kilos. You know, we're not a big physical team, so we have to beat teams other way. And, you know, I think that we've done a pretty good job of using or playing to our strengths to this point in the season. But with that said, there's games where you have to get chippy and you have to play physical. You know, you have to be physical with teams, and that was one of those teams. You know, we watched their game against Oldenburg the previous week, and Oldenburg took them out of everything they tried to run. They they were the physical team, and, you know, that's a game that we should have, you know, not literally punched them in the mouth first, but thrown the first punch, you know, metaphorically speaking. And we didn't do that. So in that sense, I agree with you. You know, there's games where we have to.
Finally.
And it's been a long time coming for me to agree with you on that. But like with that said, that's not the MO of our team. You know, we don't have. Okay, Jamel's a big, banging player, but besides him, Andre is, but he's also a guard. So we're limited in players like that. You know, I'm not necessarily a banger.
And you already mentioned we got to find other ways to play around that. And I mean, when we were talking about everything that happened from the middle of the second quarter or early in the beginning of the second quarter until the end, we found ways to play around that. So and you already mentioned, we got to stick to our strengths. So what would you say? What made us actually or literally come back in this one yesterday after being down by 15 points early in the second quarter?
I mean, we have a lot of good basketball players that were able to make plays. Brooks played a great game. You know, that was a long time coming. He hadn't had one of his standard games. That's what he does. He's a great scorer. We see it every day in practice. You know, and he was part of the reason that we were in the game at that point, just because he came in and made shot after shot, big shot. Dre came in and started the second half, made a lot of big shots for us. You know, Dennis, obviously, that's what he does. He's a big shot maker. Jamel's a scorer, and Jared finds everybody. So, you know, I think that, you know, the fact that we have a lot of guys that can put the ball in the hoop, even though we weren't necessarily doing it early, you know, we still scored 90 points at home. When you score 90 at home, you have to win the game. But the fact that we do have a lot of scorers and guys that can put the ball in the hoop, you know, we played to that. And, you know, once we were able to get stops, get out in transition, get some easy buckets, so we started flowing a lot better. It just would have been nice to have done that from the tip.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember sitting at my media seat and talking to the guy next to me, and I was like, it was somewhat during the third quarter, and I was like, if we wouldn't have Jared on our squad, we were down by like 20 or so at this point, because he was so good at finding people at the right spot at the right time. And I mean, obviously he came up with 13 assists.
He had 9 at the half, right?
He had 9 at the half, 13 total, season personal season best. how much do you guys on one rely on him for sure, and how much do you guys hope for him to have a game like this in those games? How much do you guys hope that he's always able to find the open man?
Yeah, he was. I was with him all night last night after the game, and he's always, when we lose games, he's very hard on himself. Everyone is. No one likes to lose, but we expect him to do that stuff, and it's almost like maybe it's not fair that we expect him to do that, but having played with him for so long and known him for so long, that's his game. That's what he gets paid to do. So we definitely don't take it for granted, because games like Würzburg, we sit back and we're in awe.
Talking about Würzburg, he had as well the season best in points, 20 points, season best in rebounds. Yeah. That was 8, along with
a game high in assists. Yeah,
game high in assists, and I think that comes from having his parents in the stands. We got to keep him over here.
Yeah, we were talking last night. Anytime you have your loved ones in the stands watching, you play your best basketball. As a foreigner, that's just how it is. Like, you don't get many opportunities to play in front of them because you're 6,000, 5,000 miles away from home. So when they're here, it's almost like you play with a different kind of passion and fire. But Jared's been, he's the reason I came back here in the first place. So I think that speaks enough. Yeah, to say we expect him to have games like that last night where he had 9 assists in the first half is kind of crazy, because no one expects that. But at the same time, there's nothing he really does that amazes us or shocks us, because he's that good of a player. He's our point guard. So, of course, we rely on him a lot, but we also rely on Jamel to be our inside scoring presence. So we rely on Bennis to be our sharpshooter from the outside. So, we have a lot of different pieces like that, but he's our catalyst. He's our captain, and he's what gets us going.
Yeah. And talking about playing in front of the loved ones, you had a season high in points yesterday as well with 15. Was there any point during the game where you felt like, I gotta have something going, or I gotta get something going on the offensive end because we need an offensive push? Or was it that you focused on playing defense because their bigs were huge? I mean, Pleite was big in the beginning. Thijs was doing his stuff, all night long. So what was your main focus on?
I wouldn't really say it was just mainly to score, but it was mainly just to play good basketball within our team systems. And they have very good bigs. They're a very good team. They're deep. They have a lot of players that can play. They have Thijs, Howard, Pleite, who had the tip in, obviously. So they're in the center power forward position. They're a good team. But personally, I had 15, but I couldn't really get it going early. I missed some shots early, but I also tried not to let that affect me for the rest of the game. I tried to stay aggressive, and I took what the defense gave me, and it's hard to, again, I didn't watch the film, so at the time I'm just going through,
But let's rewind it for a split second. There's been talk about you shooting the threes with not that high of an accuracy, like you did in the past, and everybody was wondering, he's missing those shots. He can shoot this way. And yesterday you hit the big one, and we were up by 6. So talk about you taking the outside shots these days. How much does this, or do these numbers affect you shooting the ball, or is there? I'm open. I go for it anyway.
Yeah, obviously there comes a point in time where you're like, man, it feels like nothing I throw out from outside is going in right now. Yet we get into practice, and I'll hit 3 after 3, and in 5-on-5, and I'll get open shots and I'll hit them. And of course, in the back of my mind, it's there, knowing my percentage is not what it normally is, but at the same time, I have Jared, Coach, McCray, everyone telling Bennis, you're open. We need you to just shoot the ball. They'll eventually start going in. You're a shot. You make shots, but that's been disappointing to me so far to this point in the season. But luckily, we still have 16 games left, and It's yeah. I mean, I work on it. I'm still working on it. It's just one of those things, and now it's become more of a mental thing that, you know, I'm paid to play basketball and make shots, so it's yeah. It is what it is.
Making shots and not making shots is part of basketball.
It is part of the game. Yeah.
Everybody believes. So how much of a relief was it when you hit this one?
Yeah, I think everyone saw my reaction after it. They called timeout, and I kind of looked up to the skies and was thanking God, because yeah, it had been a long time coming since I had made my last one, and I think a lot of it is putting the pressure on myself because I'm my biggest critic. You know, when it comes to the game of basketball, fans can say whatever they want, but you know, when it comes to a knowledge of the game standpoint, you know, I think I'm pretty knowledgeable, and no one's harder on myself than me. So yeah, it was a sigh of relief, but at the same time, I shot that shot like I knew it was going in. Yeah.
But you haven't been the only one who's been struggling from three-point land these days. I mean, Bennis was cold for most parts of the game. In the end, he hit a huge one as well. So I mean, and I talked to about it with, I think it was Dave and Ryan, and they were like, hey, if you're open, let it fly. Whether it's Bennis, whether it's Tony, whether it's Dave, whoever. And when you're open, if it's Steve, go right at it. Shoot the damn ball. I mean, and yesterday when you look at guys like Steve or Dre, yeah, those were big time threes.
Yeah.
Because you know they took the ball, maybe they didn't think about maybe I'll miss this. It just let it fly. And I think that's what we need in those kind of situations.
Yeah, you're right, and we have guys that have a history of being able to make shots, make threes, and yeah, eventually you just kind of have to say, screw it. I'm here to play basketball. They brought me here to throw this round ball into the hoop, and that's what I'm going to do. So screw everything else. I'm getting this shot up, and it's going to go in. Yeah. You know, we actually did shoot it pretty well from three last night for the first time in a while. But yeah, it was, again, a lot of that's like a mental standpoint. Yeah. What's up, Bennis?
So to close this own game out, you were close to the situation. You were at that very moment when Pleite tipped it in at the end of overtime. So from your point of view, did you realize that it was in time? Did you think maybe it was later after the buzzer? What was the initial thinking?
My initial reaction was that he got it off in time because I jumped and I was facing him. I think me, Jamel, and Bennis were all around him, all jumping to contest the tip, and he happened to get his fingertips on it. And yeah, I knew it counted as soon as he made it. I was just in shock because before it, I was positive we were going to double overtime, and yeah, it was. I mean, it was. You have to give him credit. It was a great tip. It was.
There was like Carlos coming in for shooting practice.
But no, it was. I mean, he made a great play. I think that it took some of us by surprise, and that they even had time for a tip because the clock was winding down. There was 2 seconds left when Sosa had the ball in his hand still. Yeah, you know, you have to give him credit for that because he made a very tough tip. It wasn't like he tipped it right over the rim. He was about 5 feet away from the hoop and just got his fingertip on it. And yeah, it's unfortunate to be on the losing end of that kind of game because we work extremely hard throughout the game. I think, you know, obviously for the fans, it was a great game to witness because it was 2 teams that were physically going at it. There were a lot of scuffles. And to be on the losing end of it, I think I speak for most of the guys in the locker room that a lot of guys lost some sleep over it.
Yeah, can imagine it. And talking about history, talking about statistics, prior to that game, out of the last 6 meetings between Bonn and Ulm, 4 of those meetings were won by Bonn, and each of those with a point differential of ±5. So this was the first close game versus Ulm we lost in the last 3 years. But looking forward, we got to look forward because there's not much time to get prepared for the Cup qualification game in Berlin, and obviously with us meeting Berlin in Euro Cup as well this year. That's already the 4th game against those guys. So I mean, knowing that we are a tough team to beat on the road, that we are 8-1 in league play on the road, what's the mindset, what's the overall mindset going into Wednesday's game?
Yeah, we know they're one of the hottest teams in Europe, not just in Germany. I think they've won a total of 15 games in a row.
Club record.
Yeah, going with you know, the Euro Cup as well, but all records are made to be broken. So we're going there with, you know, we know the O2 Arena is a tough place to play. We know that they're the hottest team in the league right now. We know that they're one of the best defensive teams in the league, and that's what makes them so good. We're going to have to find a way to get out in transition, and we don't want to get into a half-court game with them. That's what they love to do. They're a very deep team. Yeah, we know the task at hand is not an easy one, but it's one game, you know, and if, you know, going on the road, we're very confident. We're a confident group of guys. I think that has to do with experience, and yeah, we have a lot of guys that are comfortable playing on the road for one reason or another. And yeah, coach. But yeah, so like I said, we know the task at hand is not an easy one. We know Berlin's playing great basketball right now, but we like being the underdog, and we're looking forward to going there and giving them a good game and putting ourselves in a position where we have a chance to win the game come down the stretch.
You already mentioned those guys that have a deep roster, and when you look at their bigs, I mean, Leon Radosevic is averaging 12 points, 4 rebounds a game in National League play. They got Lalon Kendall, they got obviously Jonas Wolfer-Botterman, who came from Bonn. So when you look at their bigs, and especially you, what do you have to bring to the table on Wednesday to, you know, bring us in a better position, or in the position to actually win this game?
Yeah, I mean, from the big space.
Even maybe playing physical?
Yeah,
to this one?
Yeah, that's a team that we have to play physical with, because I don't necessarily know how much they enjoy playing physical as a group of bigs. You know, that's a team that's predicated around a lot around their guard play. They have a lot of solid guards that run the show for them. So, you know, I think that's going to be an area that we have to excel. Our bigs have to play really well for us to have a chance to win this game on Wednesday. And you know, it's, again, they're like you just mentioned, they're a very deep team. There's a reason that they're in second place in the league right now and playing some of the best basketball in all of Europe. So yeah, me, Steve, Jamel, and Kurt know going into every game that we're going to have to play tough basketball, and this game will be no different. To close this one out, let's not talk about the BBL, let's not talk about the Cup game, let's talk about Kobe Bryant and the story everybody who bought an issue of the latest 5 magazine came up with the interview with you, and the story about you throwing the rookie welcoming party in, was it Vegas, or what was it back in the days when you were with the Lakers? So for everybody who hasn't read the interview, give us the story, because it's just great. Yeah, no, Kobe took care of me a lot when I was in Los Angeles. You know, me and him were the first 2 to practice every single day. You know, the last ones to leave. You know, my personal coach, David Thorpe, who works for ESPN, you know, was always preaching to me, you got to be the first one there. You're trying to make a team. It's, you know, and for me was simple. I have done that my whole life. College, I always try to be the first one in the gym. Gives you time to work on what you got to work on. But the first day I got to Los Angeles, I walk in we have 10 o'clock practice. It's 8 o'clock. I walk in. I'm gonna get some work done, get in the weight room, and I hear a ball bouncing on the practice court. So I walk around the corner, and sure enough, it's Kobe with 3 or 4 of the ball boys rebounding for him. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I guess I'm gonna have to get here a little earlier. Next day comes, get there like 7:45. Sure enough, Kobe's already in there. So that was kind of how our relationship started. We were the first 2 in the gym for a few hours, and then after 2 or 3 days, I was working on my stuff down one end with some rebounders, and he was down the other. And he yells down to me, "Rook, let's play some one-on-one." So for about 20 days, I had to play one-on-one against arguably one of the greatest one-on-one players ever played the game.
So what's your record in one-on-ones versus Kobe?
We didn't keep a record, thank God, but he was, but it was cool because some days he would say, all right, I'm only going to score with my left hand today. I'm only using my left hand. Everything I score today is going to be in the paint. Don't let me get into the paint. Everything I score today is going to be a jump shot. Everything I score today is going to be a layup. He would always change his rules of the game, and he was like, he would tell me, foul me, do whatever you got to do against him, he's like, I know your MO is to be a defensive stopper. You were a defensive All-American in college. I know everything about your defensive game. Stop me. So that was a lot easier said than done, because there's no stopping Kobe, especially in those days. But sure enough. So we went through the preseason and we developed a very good relationship. We were in the locker room one day before a game, and my locker would happen to be right next to Kobe's at the Staples Center, and we were talking. Kobe got up to go through his pregame warm-up on the court, his routine. He gets up and walks out. Lamar Odom looks at me and he goes, man, I have no idea why he likes you so much. He hates rookies. And I was just, I was like, it is what it is. So going into our last preseason game, they do the rookie initiation trip to Las Vegas. You play a game in Las Vegas, and there's a big party that, supposed to initiate the new rookies they have coming in. They had already released the 4 or 5 other free agent rookies that they brought in that had a chance to make the team, and I was the last one standing. So I think, not only myself, but the team assumed that I had made their roster. So they did throw a party for me there. When we first got there, we were in the high stakes room. And again, I'm a rookie, so I don't have money that belongs anywhere near the high stakes room. So, I'm watching the guys having fun. We're just relaxing. Some of the guys are throwing some money around, and Kobe comes up to me and he says, what are you doing, Rook? And I said, just watching. I'm like, I don't have this kind of money yet. I'm like, being a rookie, I can't. So he called over one of the pit ladies that were one of the managers, I guess you could say, and he threw his card down and he said, get my rookie 10 stacks. And I didn't know what 10 stacks meant at the time, but sure enough, it meant $10,000. And, when guys are playing, $1,000 hands of blackjack, or, because it was special, a special night, it's not like guys don't go to Vegas every weekend, but for us, it's like a kickoff party for the season. It's going on the plane. Phil Jackson came into the back of the plane and was like, listen, the outcome of this game is irrelevant. I don't want anybody getting hurt, and I don't want to see anybody on the news tomorrow for getting in trouble. That's all I have to say. Have some fun. We do this stupid trip for you guys.
It is the last time to have a chance to get loose before the season starts.
Exactly.
We're talking about 82 games.
It's a long season. Yeah. It's a grueling season. So the fact that they do that for the team, I think, says a lot about the organization. They know what is at hand, and sure enough, for them, it actually worked out pretty well because the Lakers ended up winning the NBA championship that year. But yeah, and so sure enough, the lady brings me over $10,000 in chips, and the first thing I wanted to do was
run.
Yeah, put it in my pocket and get up and go. But I couldn't do that. And sure enough, 30 minutes later, it was gone. But to have a story like that as a little rookie from just outside of Boston, for me, that was the whole experience with them was very surreal, and it was a special time for me. And the way Kobe embraced me and took me under his wing, and not just with that, but the way he treated me on a basketball court was it's something that.
And he fed you with an assist for your first NBA point, was that right?
Yeah, he did. It was on YouTube, and I have that video as well. Not many players can say that their first NBA points were on the assist from Kobe Bryant. I don't know if there are any other players that can say that, But yeah, so I'll forever have a cool little tie with Kobe Bryant.
With you having that kind of a special relationship with him, what's your take on his injuries? I mean, he just came back from the Achilles, then played a couple of games, and then he has this knee thing, and he's out for nobody knows for how long. So from everything you experienced with him, what's your take on the situation? Could you imagine him coming back and being anyone near to the Kobe we know? I mean,
yeah, I think that's a good question. Because I've said it for years since I've known him. He's the hardest working basketball player I've ever been around. The work that he puts into his game that's the reason he's been the greatest player in the game for so long. You know, there's no surprise to that after watching how hard he works. So the fact that people are ruling him out to come back a star in this league is somewhat comical to me, because I don't think he'll accept anything but that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think, I think that he's going to come back and he'll find a way to be the Kobe of old one way or another. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because, obviously, as you get older, that doesn't lie. Your body gets older. But with that said, he works so hard that I'm sure he's working right now on ways to come back probably better than he was before. I think we might see a different Kobe when he comes back. But with that said,
maybe different. That was what I was thinking about, because first when he came back after the Achilles injury, I mean, he was more of a floor general,
like a facilitator.
Yeah.
I
mean, he had huge assistance. You look at those few games. I mean, he had a couple turnovers, yes, but that was because he had some kind of rusty. But when you look at him facilitating the ball and just playing more of a point guard, it was nice to see.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that will prolong is the fact that he is just such a good basketball player. Being able to do so many different things, and I think he could have 3 or 4 years left to play, because he works so hard, and I don't think that it's going to be hard to keep him away from the game and keep him from being a great dominant player.
Talking about hard work for us, it's hard work to get prepped for Berlin, get prepped for Ludwigsburg. For so long, thanks for stopping by, Mr. Gaffney.
My man, thanks for having me.
And come back with a win.
It's the plan.